Back in 2016, I wrote a book called A Sight for Sore Eyes in the immediate aftermath of the Didcot A power station collapse. I gave the profits of that book to 3 of the 4 bereaved families impacted by that tragedy. The 4th family politely declined to be part of it. I sold more books overseas than I sold here, including many to people that were barely able to read English. They didn't buy the book to read it. They bought it as a demonstration of unity. When I was threatened in my own home over something I'd written, I received dozens of phone calls, emails, and text messages. The majority of those came from outside the UK. I can find myself at a conference or an exhibition in Italy, Germany, Spain, Sweden. Even though I don't speak the local language, I get by because, like my hosts, I speak the universal language of demolition and construction. Now, there's a reason for all these things. Construction and, by association, demolition is a global brotherhood. And sorry, ladies, I didn't name it. Within that brotherhood, we all speak the same language, regardless of where we come from. And there's an unwritten understanding that if you attack one man or one woman in this industry, you attack us all. Which goes some way to explaining why what is happening in the US right now cuts so deep and feels so personal, even though it's happening thousands of miles away. I'm talking, of course, about the raids on US construction sites by officers from the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE as it's become known. These raids are happening across the nation in the US, but here's just a few very, very quick examples. Half of the 200 people who were working on the construction of a student residence hall near Florida State University last Thursday didn't return home. They were arrested in an operation involving ICE authorities. Just a few days later, 31 workers were arrested at 2 construction sites in Texas. And then another 33 suffered the same fate in Wildwood in Florida. In the US construction sector, it's estimated that 1 in 4 workers are immigrants. According to the National Association of Home Builders, around 31% are Latino. A large number of those arrested in Florida hailed from Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Honduras, and El Salvador. It's further estimated that around half of all those foreign construction workers lack legal status. And this is just one of the many areas with which I have an issue. Those that are less keen on immigration, or people with a skin tone that doesn't precisely match their own, will tell you that these bloody foreigners come over here and sponge off our system. Let me tell you something. There are much easier and safer ways to cheat the system and abuse the hospitality of the host nation than working in demolition or construction. If you're working a 12-hour shift in the blazing Florida or Texas sunshine, you're not a sponger or a parasite, you're a fucking hero. But even setting aside the tax contribution made to the American Treasury by these hardworking immigrants, there's another issue here. The US, like the UK, is already suffering from a labour and skill shortage. If America wanted a clue on how the loss of a migrant workforce might impact upon their own construction industry, they only needed to look at the UK in the immediate aftermath of the Brexit vote. Tens of thousands of Bulgarians, Hungarians, Romanians, Poles, Russians and Ukrainians returned home, significantly undermining UK construction productivity. As a direct result, the UK government was forced to add several construction roles to the shortage occupation list to attract bricklayers, masons, carpenters and roofers back to UK shores to plug the hole left by the post-Brexit exodus. Yet that is only part of a wider short-sightedness on the part of the US government. Research from the Urban Institute estimates that more than 42% of construction workers are engaged in residential construction. Immigrant labour plays a significant role in states where the sector is already under severe pressure due to supply falling short of demand, particularly in California, Texas, Nevada, New York, Florida, Maryland, and New Jersey. In other words, in its determination to weed out undocumented migrant workers, the US government is simultaneously slowing the construction of much-needed housing for American citizens. Now, not only does all this feel deeply un-American, it also runs counter to history. Here in the UK, large parts of our canal, railway and motorway networks were built by migrant labour from Ireland, the original navvies. Those migrant workers are the reason the UK demolition and construction industry still has a lot of highly successful and highly respected Irish firms, and the sector is all the better for it. In the post World War II era, West Germany initiated the guest worker program to address labour shortages. Migrant workers from countries like Turkey, Italy, and Greece were recruited in industries including construction. Those workers significantly contributed to rebuilding and expanding Germany's infrastructure after the war. Most notably of all, the US Transcontinental Railroad, which was completed in 1869, stands as a testament to the vital role of migrant labour in national development. Chinese immigrants constituted approximately 80 to 90% of the Central Pacific Railroad workforce. Their efforts were instrumental in connecting the American coasts, facilitating commerce and settlement, and making America what it is today. Yet none of that, the skills gap, the housing shortage, or the historical precedent, are the reason for my sadness, frustration, and anger right now. That reason is far simpler, far more human. These aren't migrants or immigrants. These aren't foreigners to be feared or to be hostile towards. They're not spics or wetbacks. These are demolition and construction workers slogging their guts out and breaking their backs to support their families while simultaneously contributing to the development and improvement of a country that is not even their own. Regardless of their colour, the language they speak, the God they worship, or their country of origin, they are part of the global construction brotherhood. And I stand with them.